Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Simplifying Fractions. Today we're going to be simplifying not just any fraction, but the improper fraction. Now you might be asking, what is an improper fraction anyways? Observe. The top number is larger than the smaller number. That is an improper fraction. You can simplify it the way we've simplified all the other fractions, with one thing that I'm going to show you at the end. But let's go ahead and go with what we've done before. So we have 1 times 56 is 56. The question is will 2 go into 56? And that will go into 56. 2 times 28 is indeed 56. Will 3 go into 56? No. Will 4 go into 56? Yes. How many times? Well, we know that 4 times 14 is 56. Will 5 go into 56? No. Will 6? No. Will 7? Yes. Yes, it will. 7 times 8 is 56. Now that we've listed all the factor pairs of 56, we've got to do the same thing for 32. So let's go ahead and do it. 1 times 32 is 32. Will 2 go into 32? Yes, it will. We know that 2 times 16 is 32. Will 3 go into 32? No. Will 4? Of course it will. 4 times 8 is 32. And I do believe that's it. Therefore, we just need to find the largest number that appears on both lists, and that is our GCF, the greatest common factor, which we can use to simplify by simply dividing the top and the bottom number by 8. So let's go ahead and do that. We divide the top number by 8. 56 divided by 8 is 7. And the bottom number divided by 8. 32 divided by 8 is 4. So now we have simplified our fraction to 7/4. But look, it's still an improper fraction. We want to write it as a mixed number as well in 6th grade. So how do we do that? Well, we do that by simply asking, how many times will this go into that? Like, how many times will 4 go into 7? Because this really is a division problem. This line says divided by. 7 divided by 4. So how many times will 4 go into 7? Well, we know that it will go once. And how much is left over? Well, there will be a remainder of 3. So the remainder goes up top, and then the denominator stays the same. So thus we've written our fraction in simplest form as both an improper fraction and a mixed number. Let's try another one, for example. We need to simplify this like we do normal fractions. So we're going to list the factor pairs. We know that 1 times 24 is 24. We know that 2 times 12 is 24. We know that 3 times 8 is 24. And then, of course, 4 times 6 is 24. Let's do the same thing for 15. 1 times 15 is 15. 2 won't go into 15, but 3 will. 3 times 5 is 15. And that's it, my friends. The largest number that appears on both lists is a 3. Thus, the 3 is the GCF. We can divide the top and the bottom number by 3 because it is the greatest common factor. So let's do that. Oops, let me erase those 2 little dots. There we go. 24 divided by 3 is 8. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now we've simplified it as an improper fraction, but we also would like to write it as a mixed number. Remember, it's a division problem, top to bottom, 8 divided by 5. Or you can ask yourself, how many times will 5 go into 8 without going over? 5 will go into 8 once. What's left over? Well, I know that 3 is left over. And then the denominator stays the same. And thus we have written the fraction in simplest form as both a mixed number and an improper fraction. Let's do one more example just for practice purposes. 45 over 35. Again, we start out by listing the factor pairs. 1 times 45 is 45. 2 won't go into 45, but 3 will. 3 times 15 is 45. 4 won't go into 45, but 5 will. We know that 5 times 9 is 45. And those are all the factor pairs for 45. Now we need to do the same thing with 35. 1 times 35 is 35. 2 won't go into 35, 3 won't go into 35, 4 won't go into 35, but 5 will. We know that 5 times 7 is 35. And the greatest common factor is 5. Why? Because it's the biggest number that appears on both lists. So now we can divide the top and the bottom number by 5, which is our greatest common factor. So we do that together. 45 divided by 5 is 9. And 35 divided by 5 is 7. Now, we've simplified our fraction, but it is still an improper fraction because the top number is larger than the bottom number. So let's write it as a mixed number as well. We ask ourselves, what is 9 divided by 7? Or how many times will 7 go into 9 without going over? We know that 7 will go into 9 one time without going over. What is left over? Well, 2. 2 would be our remainder. And then, of course, the denominator stays the same. Whoops. And so, our fraction in simplest form has been written as both an improper fraction and a mixed number. I do hope that was helpful to you. Best of luck with everything. Ta-ta for now.